الشمس والقمر بحسبان
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري. Just like the word Rahman, the word Husban also ends with an, denoting something of an extreme nature. This is extreme, mysterious, yet precise calculation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in ayat number 5 of Surah Rahman shifts the topic of discussion to the creation of the sun and the moon, which are of a lesser significance to the creation of man. Allah highlights their importance to us by the use of the word Husban, which has possibly 4 different meanings. Number 1, the precision and timely movements of these celestial bodies in their own orbits. This concept is highlighted in Surah Yasin in ayat number 40, where the sun, moon, stars, and planets are moving in their respective orbits. Number 2, the ability to calculate and compute time. The sun acts as our clock during the day, allowing us to calculate time due to its precise positioning in the sky, whereas the moon, with its phases, acts as a calendar for the month and the year. Surah Yunus, ayat number 5, sheds light to this, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that He has created the sun and the moon so that you might compute the number of years and the count of time. Number 3, the timely appointed death of these bodies. Surah Ar-Rahman, ayat number 2 establishes that both the sun and moon are each moving within their orbits to complete their rotation for an appointed term. This concept is also further explored in Surah Rahman itself, when the scene of Judgment Day is vividly revealed. Ayat number 37 of Surah Rahman uses the word wardah and qaddihan. The former is to depict the color of the sky as the stark red color of a lion when it is skinned. This is to demonstrate what the sky will look like when celestial bodies crash and explode into each other, and the reference to qaddihan is that of burning hot oil of different colors falling on earth from the sky, possibly of liquefaction of matter from other stars, planets, and other matters that will get destroyed at their appointed term. Number 4, the placement with precision and purpose of the sun and the moon. This concept is explored in Surah Al-Furqan, ayat number 61, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that He has placed the sun as a light and heat-emitting lamp and the moon as a shining reflective body in the solar system. A deeper perspective on the sun and moon is to compare the sun to Rasool Allah SAW and the moon to Muslims who profess to believe. Even though in size the sun is a huge celestial body, but in this perspective, the size refers to the importance and significance of just the one man, our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. His Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's light and guidance shines upon us all the time, as He Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has absorbed Allah's Zat, His Sifat, His Mulk, and His Malakut during the event of Mairaj, as He Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not get Fana, annihilated, in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence, He Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came back embodied with all these attributes. So Allah's analogy of the sun and moon is very interesting here, in reference to Rasool Allah SAW and the Muslims who profess to believe. The moon only absorbs the light of the sun and not its heat. Had the heat or essence of Allah's Noor been sent with full force through Rasool Allah SAW, we may all have become Fana and not even been able to withstand its power. So, the Ar-Rahman chooses to carefully penetrate Eeman, faith, selectively into the hearts of believers in His own divine way, so that they can then strive towards Fana Fillah during their lifetime. Surah Hujurat, ayat number 14 tells us that we can only profess to be Muslims and we can only become true believers, mu'mins, when Allah puts iman into our hearts. In other words, if we want, we can get all the guidance through the oceans of knowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon Rasulullah SAW. But whether we can absorb its essence, its wisdom, its heat and energy by penetration into our qalb, our spiritual heart, is only up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another point to reflect here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has clearly laid down the mizan, balance, especially in reference to all celestial bodies. In Surah Yasin, ayat number 40, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that neither can the sun deviate from its orbit and overtake the moon, nor can the night precede the day. In other words, neither can we ever reach the stature, importance, and status of Rasulullah SAW, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has exclusively only given to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, alone is the epicenter of our universe, and that it was for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created the rest of creation, as he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the rahmatul alameen, the mercy for all the worlds. And neither will he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ever be degraded to our position in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is our truth. We can aspire to become like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but we can never become exactly like him in any respect. This is the daraja and muqam given exclusively to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, the moon goes through many phases as explained in Surah Yasin, ayat number 39. The reference to an old dry branch of a palm tree is when it is a tiny crescent-like shape as opposed to its full luminosity when it is a full moon. This Ramzan, let us ponder on the phases of the moon. The two stark phases depict the state of our iman as it varies from time to time, sometimes even full at the beginning of the day, but regresses to complete heedlessness during the night time when we may submit to our lusts and desires. This analogy has thus many inner learnings of how we must make efforts to be steadfast in trying to bring our zahir, outward appearance projecting to others, and batin, what we truly are within, together so that we may bridge the gap between these two fluctuations to the best of our abilities, especially in times when we are most vulnerable and susceptible to our nafse amara, the blaming self, and the whispers of the shayateen, devils. Ameen. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Thank you for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you found this reflection on Surah Rahman meaningful, please like and share with those who may benefit, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. May Allah's rahmah and barakah be with you and your loved ones this Ramzan and always. Ameen. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram.